Hello and welcome to something a bit different from the normal unboxing. I had planned on doing an unboxing for the Planar Chaos Rituals of Rebirth deck, but I wasn't really happy with the way the filming turned out. I think my camera seems to be playing up a bit, and I'll see how I get on with this. So instead I've done a sort of show and tell of the deck. So here's the deck laid out. As I've said, this is from the Planar Chaos set, and it was all part of the Time Spiral block. So this obviously features time-shifted cards. So you'll notice that quite a few of these cards have got the old style frames on them, which is one of the features of the time-shifted idea. So in addition to the 60 cards in the deck, you also have a couple of other cards. We've got this nice foil premium card which they put in with these decks, and then a Pro Tour card. So if we just start off firstly with our mana base. So this is interesting because it's actually a black, white and green deck. And this forms what's called a colour wedge. So if you look at the back of a magic card just to see what a colour wedge is, you can see that there's your green, your white and your black. Green and white are together, and when colours are like that, that's referred to as an allied colour. And then the enemy colour is the black colour, which is an enemy colour of both green and white, and that is a cross from it. And anybody that's familiar with the Commander decks that came out a while ago, they used colour wedges in terms of their makeup, their colour makeup. So we have, like I said, black, white, green mana. Now to help with the fixing of this, because obviously this is a 60 card deck with 3 colours in it, so you might have problems with mana, you have a couple of terramorphic expanses here. And you can sack these to go search out some basic lands and then put them into play, albeit tapped, so it makes the deck a little bit slower, and you can also obviously shuffle your library after that. So the idea behind the deck is to get creatures into your graveyard and then to play those creatures effectively for nothing rather than hard casting them. Obviously as the game progresses and you have enough mana out, you can then hard cast those. So one of the first cards that does this is this 2 and a white Icathian Crier, which for 1 and a white you tap it and you discard a card, and it puts 2 1/1 white citizen creature tokens into play. So that will both give you creature tokens and put stuff into your graveyard. Then we also have Fayadiasir, and for this one you can tap it, draw a card and reveal it. If it isn't a land card, discard it. So you've got the ability to fix your mana, and at the same time, if you don't find land when you draw the card, you'll discard it, putting in your graveyard, which is exactly what you want to do. And then we have Greenseeker. It's another card which you, here this one for cost of a green, tap it, discard a card, search your library for a basic land card, reveal it and put it into your hand. You then shuffle your library. So dual thing there again. So all of those also are creatures as well, so you can play them as blockers or attackers or whatever. Now once you've got your stuff into the graveyard, and we'll come on in a moment to the actual things you're trying to put in the graveyard, we've got to get it out. So one way is through this card called Resurrection. For 2 colourless, 2 white, you can return a target creature card from your graveyard to play. And these cards here, so you've got 3 of Dread Return. 2 and 2 black enables you to return a target creature card from your graveyard to play. It also has flashback, and you can sack 3 creatures and then play this card itself from the graveyard. And then down here we obviously want to make sure we've got some way of restocking our hand. So we've got a couple of harmonizers to do that, which allow us to draw 3 cards. Then, while we're on the subject of basically drawing cards and getting cards, here we have the ability to search the library for a basic land card and put it into play. So this is a sorcery. So another way of sorting out dodgy mana. It's also got suspend 2 on it, so rather than play the card for its full cost, you can pay 1 green, remove it from the game, and it comes into play after the 2 time counters you've placed on it have been removed, and they get removed 1 per upkeep. And you've got Wall of Roots, interesting card. It's a defender, it's a 0 and 5 for 1 and a green, but what you can do is you put a -0, -1 counter on it, and it adds 1 green mana to your mana pool. Evolution Charm fixes a number of problems. It's an instance. You can use it either to search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle your library, or you can return a target creature card from your graveyard, which you've obviously been stocking using some of the other cards, or you can give a target creature flying. So it does a number of different things. And now we move on to the cards that we want to be trying to cast from the graveyard for free. So we've Teneb the Harvester, which is 3 colourless, black, green, white. It has flying. It's a 6/6. Other ability is whenever Teneb the Harvester deals combat damage to a player, you may pay 2 and a black. If you do, put target creature card in a graveyard into play under your control. So the card itself can bring back things from the graveyard, creatures from the graveyard. Haven Woodworm is another high casting cost creature, 6 and a green for a 5/6, has flash and trample. And Jedit Ojahin of Efrava, which is 3 colourless and 3 green, has Forest Walks, a 5/5, and also has the ability whenever Jedit Ojahin of Efrava attacks or blocks, put a 2/2 green cat warrior creature token with Forest Walk into play. So these are the cards you're going to want to be trying to cast for free by firstly getting them into graveyard using the other cards. Alternatively, as your mana builds up, of course, you're going to be able to hard cast these later on in the game. There's also a few other cards that could be useful, either hard casted or played from the graveyard. You've got 3 Phantasmagorians, which is a 5 and 2 black for a 6/6. When you play Phantasmagorian, it has an interesting ability in that any player may discard 3 cards, and actually by doing that counter this particular creature. So that could be used in a number of different ways, basically by yourself as well, to discard cards if you want to do that and get them into your graveyard and then cast them back out again. Also, you can discard 3 cards and then return it from the graveyard to your hand. So interesting graveyard stuff going on there. Then we get a few one-offs here. We've got a Twisted Abomination, which is 5/3 for 5 and a black. It does have regenerate, and it has swamp cycling. So another way of fixing, in this case specifically black, for a cost of 2 if you're trying to get swamps out and you haven't got any. Then Bog Serpent, another one-off. Interesting ability. This works best if your opponent is also playing black, because this creature can't attack unless the defending player controls a swamp. So in that instance, if they were playing black, you know this would only be ever used as for defending. It is a 5/5, and also if you got to the situation where you didn't control any swamps, you would have to sack it. Spike Feeder, another one-off, allows you to do stuff with counters. You can either remove one of the two counters on it and use it to put that onto another target creature, and there it acts as a +1/+1 pump, or you can use it to gain 2 life. And obviously once you've removed the counters, this becomes a 0/0 and will end up in the graveyard. Essence Warden is a way of gaining life, so there's 2 of those. And what's interesting about it is whenever another creature comes into play, you gain 1 life. So if you're up against a creature heavy deck, or this has got quite a few creatures in it as well that are coming into play, then that's going to be pumping your life up. And also Jedit's Dragoons, as part of its ability, can also gain life when it comes into play, so you will gain life from that. It has Vigilance, which means it doesn't tap when you attack with it, but on the downside it's a 5 and a white for a 2/5, so more defensive than attack creature. But as I said, it does have Vigilance, so it doesn't tap when it attacks. Over here is a couple I didn't mention. We've got Rebuff the Wicked, which is a counter spell, but it only counters target spells that target a permanent you control. And Singe Autocrat, a one-of, which allows you to put 3/0/1 black surf creature tokens into play when it comes into play. So you can use it for generating some cheap blockers. When it leaves play, you have to remove all the surf tokens, they go with it. So that's pretty much it. As I've said, what this deck is based around is getting creatures into the graveyard, getting them back out again effectively for no cost, or if you've managed to build your mana up, then of course you can then hard cast them. Okay, thanks for watching.